You're listening to the Tumbling Saber Podcast, a member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network. Check us out on the web at starwarscommonwealth.com, on iTunes, Facebook, and Twitter, and take your first step into a larger world. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 79 of the Tumbling Saber Podcast. My name's Kyle.
And I am Corey.
And I'm more excited than a kitty next to a leaky cow.
That's so disgusting.
That's gross. Drinking cow from another animal? That's disgusting. Drinking milk from another animal, I mean.
Oh man. Well, welcome back everybody. And hope you all had a good weekend. How you guys doing?
Good.
Super.
I had a really wicked weekend, man. Did some boating and all that. It was actually my wife's birthday as well. Did the TSW roundtable today, which was also
I thought you said you did the TSW roundtable for your wife's birthday. Way to go.
Well done.
No, I planned around it. I made it work, and it was a wicked weekend, man. It was really fun. Actually went out, purchased some, quite a few Star Wars toys. Quite a few.
Do tell.
Well, I don't think we're going to...
No, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know either.
All right, well, let's say I purchased...
Damn it, Corey, nobody knows.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you then. I purchased several for this here show that we're going to give away here on this here show. We won't reveal the names or anything or the details yet. Kyle's going to put all that together, but... It's coming. It's coming soon. Watch out. Anyway, listen to this. You know what I did? Oh my god! When I was out looking. I was shopping for my wife. My son wanted to get her something in particular. So yeah, we went into Walmart there and definitely picked up a few more figures. But I finally saw that Disney Infinity stuff. Remember the one I've been telling you I've been eyeing, the Ahsoka Anakin one. And it hasn't come down in price anywhere, right? So finally, it's like marked down by it was marked down like $15. So it was like, I don't know, it was about $20 with tax or something. So I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'm doing it. Anyway, I purchased it, and anyway, I get home with all this stuff. I was shopping like all afternoon for my wife, and then picked up my son. We went out together, and I don't know, bought all kinds of stuff. Anyway, so I get downstairs, and I'm taking out all my goodies, and yeah, it's just like nowhere to be found. Gone. Like, I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if it got left there or like, I don't know, left in the cart. I don't know.
Nice work.
It was quite disappointing. But whatever. It is what it is. Still an awesome weekend.
Question for you guys. So, the UK is getting The Last Jedi a day early. And I'm wondering if you guys think this is fair or foul.
Yeah, I'm fine with it, to be honest. Maybe we might have to go Twitter dark or whatever, just because there's some people who like to spoil it for the rest of everyone else, but hopefully that's not the case. And, with what they got served with Rebels, I mean, come on, we can't
It's
complain.
a fair trade, right?
Yeah, I mean...
It's a fair trade.
It's not like it's
We get Rebels 2 weeks in advance, right? We get Rebels episodes 1, 2, 3 weeks in advance, and they have to... avoid our Rebels talk and all talk of Rebels, period. And yeah, I think it's more than a fair trade that our friends in the UK can have The Last Jedi a day early.
I'm going to take a different route. I'm going to say it does make sense, but not because it's fair play, more because knowing people from that part of the world, they need an extra day of processing time just to understand things.
Oh.
Shots fired!
Oh.
All right, I'm resentful and jealous. It's coming out a little bit.
Wow.
That's Chop Rules with a Z.
Bastardo.
Wow. I can't wait to watch Twitter the morning this show goes out and just watch James's mentions.
Dave Donovan, Rob Wade.
Oh, he's calling
obviously excluded from that previous comment. Mark. All of our friends in the Commonwealth do not fit that bill.
Of course not.
Of course not.
They wouldn't be our friends if they did.
The exceptions to the rule. No, I'm a little jealous, but it like you said, fair play. I mean, they can't release it everywhere at the exact same time, so someone's got to get it first.
Like, I don't know if there's an actual reason for it, or if it, you know what, this is just the way it's going to go down, and the rest of the world's going to have to just deal with it. And I think it's fair enough. We'll deal with it.
Yeah. No problem.
So, are you guys familiar with the work of Edgar Wright?
Yeah, somewhat. I love Shaun
Well,
of the
because
Dead.
of the show notes, I am.
I only know him really from Shaun of the Dead, which was refreshing at the time. But Corey, do you know anything more about the guy?
I've watched several of his movies. Yeah, they're funny. I love Shaun of the Dead. It's still to this day, like, I love that movie. Yeah. I mean, you asked me, like, do you think he's a good fit for Star Wars?
He was talking to CNET, and I don't know why the interviewer would just come out and ask, would you be interested in directing a Star Wars movie? To me, it's a classic case of newsjacking. But do you think this guy, as unique as he is, deserves a shot in the galaxy far, far away?
It's tough to say. What I'm seeing in the quote, what he had said, he kind of said something like, "Wait for December," I believe. No.
Yeah, he says it's almost, to me, it sounds like he says he's about to say it's not directing. Like he slips that in. Maybe I'm hearing things, but I thought I heard him about to say that it's not directing, but that we'd have to wait until, I think he said Christmas, right?
Yeah, and I think you're right. I did see a tweet, I believe, in the article that I read below that he said straight up, "I'm not directing," whatever. But why December? When you think, what kind of announcements are they gonna have in December, right? I mean, it's the premiere of the movie, so I'm kind of thinking that maybe because he's such a super fan, maybe he landed a small cameo. Maybe he's like Ankar Plutt's cousin or something.
Is he a super fan?
Yeah, I heard. I've heard that he's a big fan, and that's why it kind of makes sense. I don't know. I just don't see Lucasfilm this early on in the game giving the reins over to a director that's known for these kind of films. Maybe in the future, just not yet.
Well, his style is not quote unquote Star Wars style. If you're looking to diversify go ahead, James.
I don't know if that's true. I mean, he definitely has nothing sci-fi, but if you like if part of what you liked about Star Wars, maybe, and I'll reference Empire, was like the humor mixed in with great action, then Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Ant-Man, I think his catalog looks pretty good, actually.
Well, I think it's the brand of humor. It's not. I'm not saying it's off-putting. Like I enjoy what little I've seen of his work. Scott Pilgrim, I think, is the other movie that I've seen that I enjoyed.
Great movie.
But yeah, I don't know that he fits in Star Wars. But it's okay. I mean, if they signed him to do a movie, you won't hear me complaining about it.
But again, to me, the big fishy thing is wait till December. And again, in December, I don't think they're gonna have any other huge news other than dealing with the debut of this film. It's not like this film's gonna debut and then be like, all right, here's the next film that's coming and Edgar Wright's directing or Edgar Wright's in it. Like, you know what I mean?
I think you're dead on there. I think it's probably likely a cameo.
Yeah.
His name's in the movie, and you'll see it in the credit roll.
Yeah, it's not going to be
You won't
stealing
recognize him.
They're not going to steal TLJ's thunder, you know?
No, you're right about that. He's not going to upend The Last Jedi. There'll be no big announcements from Lucasfilm. I don't think at that point. But yeah, I don't. You know, he was doing Ant-Man, and then him and Marvel came to, I guess, a severe disagreement over the direction of the movie or the tone of the movie, and whether Marvel gave him the opportunity to walk away from the project, or if they just fired him. I don't know. But something went on there. So I don't know. I don't know if he would, you know, with Marvel and Lucasfilm both being owned by Disney, I don't know if there's some sort of commonality there where they'd say, you know what, we've had the experience with this guy. We just don't see it working. So no. But anyway, I think we've already spent too much time on Edgar Wright. I'd be curious to see what he could do. For sure. I don't know. Maybe they bring. I wish they would bring like Detours back. Although that's already in the can. I don't know. But I'd like to see him do something.
Well,
Just maybe not a saga or standalone movie. Maybe something animated. I don't know.
and like again, supposedly he's a passionate Star Wars guy, so that'll usually bring out the best in people as well.
Correct. So the big news of the weekend for Star Wars fans was the Battlefront 2 trailer. A lot of fans were waiting on bated breath for this, and it was on my radar for the weekend, but I wasn't sitting at my computer wasting our gorgeous weather just waiting for this to drop. I caught the trailer well after it had debuted, but my God, does this game look smoking hot or what?
Yeah, did you catch it, James?
I did. Again, the show notes really keep my eyes open on the weekend because otherwise I remain pretty unplugged. But yeah, I think I saw it scroll through my Facebook feed before I saw it in the show notes.
It was everywhere. It was all over the place yesterday.
But yeah, I mean I could watch those. Like I could watch a whole movie that looks that good, you know?
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like now that these games are going to be part of canon, it's great to buy them and play them and be part of that experience. But if you don't, within 2 days of that game being available to the public, somebody's going to do a cut, a stitch together all the cutscenes, throw it up on YouTube, and you'll be able to watch an hour-long Star Wars movie.
It's a great movie. I've done that with other games. Those movies are great.
Yeah, like they've been doing this for a long, long time. And this will be no different. So if you really aren't inclined to play video games any longer, and myself, I in my head, I still pretend to be a gamer, but it's been almost 5 years, so I guess I'm out. But I do want to play, and I hope to get my hands on this. But if not, I'll have no trouble just watching this on YouTube and taking the Cole's notes from what I need to know.
Yeah, I have to agree, man. It looks amazing. Like I'm on the same boat as Kyle. I have not been playing video games in the past few years of my life, and even at that, you know, it's a large investment at the same time, you know, and it's a matter of you playing a game like this, how long are you going to want to play for? You're not going to want to play for 20 minutes an evening, you know? It's not like a game of hockey. Like, you're going to want to get involved at least, an hour per night? That's dedicating, maybe not per night, but, you know, you got to sit down at least an hour of time to play a game. You can't just play this game for 15 minutes and be satisfied, right?
Absolutely.
So,
and there's so much stuff that you're going to want to do. You'll want to be a trooper shooting up battle droids. You'll want to fly an X-wing against TIE fighters. You'll want to do so much.
Yeah, Maul. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. I still have luckily a few gaming buddies, so yeah, definitely gonna be paying a visit to them.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find a friend with a PS4. I don't think I have any, so I'll have to make one. Anybody want to be my friend out there who lives close by and doesn't mind being used for a PS4?
Yeah, I'll take you to Bilito's place.
And that'll work. Anyway, that comes out November 17th, and I'm tempted. I'm really tempted to make the jump because I want my hands on that game desperately, but time will tell. Moving ahead, we're going to try and plow ahead a lot of these news items. There's a lot of them this week. Nothing super huge, so that might give us the chance to race ahead quickly and get to what is my favorite part of the show, which is listener questions. And we got a lot this week, so moving on. Dave Filoni had a birthday this week, and although he's the one that should have been on the receiving end of some goods, he was gifting things to us in the form of a sketch that pretty much lays it out that Ahsoka is not the overgrown dog from the Rebel Season 4 trailer. I'm relieved. I don't know how you guys feel. James, is it happy news for you or sad news for you that Ahsoka is not being reincarnated as an overgrown dog?
It's not. It didn't affect me at all. I didn't have any expectations. I think Corey's gonna have more to say, but yeah, no, I didn't. It didn't affect me at all.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Corey, let's hear your sob story.
No sob story, really. I mean, I'm first of all surprised that you guys aren't totally dumping on me right now. Because first of all, I never really said that I liked it, but you made the right call, Kyle, because I was harping behind the scenes here, behind the curtain at the Tumbling Saber, saying, you know, we should talk about this. We touched upon it once, but we really never delved into it. So I said, you know, we should talk about it. And Kyle said, no, patience. Like, once we have some kind of confirmation or whatever, we'll delve into it a little more. And I was kind of like, oh, whatever. Like, but no, that was definitely the right call. But at the same rate, like, they definitely led us down that path. You can't deny that. Those Topps cards, so cool. I don't know if anyone's caught these cards. They came out after Twilight of the Apprentice, when you see Ahsoka entering the Sith Temple. I think there's 8 cards, and they're all so cool. If you look at them, they're so interesting, man. Like, it looks like she's going through some kind of like transformation. Like, each image is kind of like she's walking through like an iris, you know? So, and the last one, she's walking through something that's like a doorway or a tunnel that's surrounded by wolves. So, I mean, right there's a huge connection to be had. And I mean, the Stupendous Wave and Star Wars Explained, they had 2 really good short pieces on this. If you wanted to ever check them out, they were really, really well done. And in some regard, you know, like, I still believe that there is something there. It's not something that I'm, regardless, okay, granted, she's not the wolf, great, but I think there still could be some kind of connection to the wolves somehow, you know. And again,
I love how your brain works, Corey.
Well,
I know that George said he's, you know, Anakin is the chosen one, but I still you know, I still believe what I believe.
I do. I mean, yeah, like, have you seen those top cards? Like, I'm not saying that she's a wolf. I'm saying that somehow she
is a wolf.
Well, I'm not saying that Ahsoka is.
I'm not saying she's not the wolf, but she's not the wolf, and I believe what I believe. And
I love it.
Well, whatever. I mean, even in that painting that Dave Filoni gifted us on his birthday, it looks like those 2 have a connection. She's like touching it on the nose, like boop, like, you know.
It's almost like she's, you know how when you touch yourself in the mirror, you know what I mean?
Well, anyway, I definitely think there's more to be had there. And the one important thing to me here is that it's really good in a way that, you know, we know that Rebels is concluding this season. And when people were speculating that, okay, that's Ahsoka, it almost looks like a wrap for that character. Now, knowing that's not the case, this season can still bring her back somehow in some small way, I would hope. But it leaves the door open for something a lot bigger now. Like, knowing it's not the wolf, like, we know that Ahsoka lives, and yeah, you know, like, who knows where that story's going to go now? Like, I don't think it's going to be concluded within Rebels at this point. So, to me, that's good news in the sense that we're going to get a much bigger story down the line.
I tend to agree, and I think Corey ate up all the time we have for Ahsoka, so. In brief, I do agree. I'm happy that she's not a dog. I think that would have been wildly inappropriate for the character. And yeah, I agree that whatever she is, or whoever she is now, her story's not going to wrap up in Rebels. There's no time for that. And that just means more Ahsoka down the line in Togrutan form. So, hooray for that. And plowing ahead again, Joel Edgerton. He of Uncle Owen fame from the prequels wants to come back as Uncle Owen in the Obi-Wan spin-off movie. And this is from Business Insider, which is, I think, a site with a spotty reputation at best, but the story seems legit, so we'll go with it. Do you guys want to see Owen back? Do you think that would be a good idea to bring this guy back as Uncle Owen in a spin-off movie featuring Obi-Wan?
James, have at it.
I mean, I think it's better than just fan service. I don't think it would feel solely like fan service. So I'd say, yeah, I don't think Uncle Owen's story's got a starring role in any, you know, particular tale, but I wouldn't mind seeing him on screen.
Yeah, so he's got the quote here of, I like the idea that Uncle Owen is one of those guys who's done some super cool bleep, but has just never bragged about it. And what he goes on to say later that my idea is that he could go out and have some adventure, and then he comes back and slips back into that unassuming moisture farmer role. Everyone talks about Obi-Wan being super cool. Owen secretly knows that he was there, and he did some cool bleep too. I don't know if I want to go that far. I don't blame Joel Edgerton for trying to pump up Uncle Owen's tires and maybe get himself a role in the marquee. But I'm totally on board with Uncle Owen coming back in the Obi-Wan movie, which they will do. But I don't want it to be a huge role. I think a bit role is just fine.
I gotta agree with you there. Like, to me, it does not sound like fan service. And again, I like your attitude there, Kyle. The Obi-Wan movie, which they will do.
Oh,
does anybody believe they're not going to do that?
Nope. It's got to be story related. It's got to be because they can't give us the Obi-Wan movie until we've seen at least episode 8, 9, because of, revealing plot holes or something. Reasons. So for sure it's coming. They just can't tell us yet.
No, it'd be cool to flesh out some of him and Obi-Wan's relationship, even though they've done it in the comics a little. And again, like Kyle said, it's kind of drawing attention to himself in a way, like attaching himself. Like, who knows? Maybe his agent said to him, if your next interview you do, like the word on the streets, they're going to be announcing the Obi-Wan movie soon. So, let's put a bit out there for you.
Well, it's funny. Like, we were just talking about Edgar Wright. He's on the beat promoting his new movie, and somebody just slipped in the Star Wars thing because that blows up the news story. Here's Joel Edgerton, who's talking about his new movie that's coming out. Slip in the Star Wars bit, and that story blows up, and suddenly everybody's going to start reading about this movie he's in called It Comes at Night. I would never have known that if this Star Wars bit wasn't attached to that news item. So if you want to newsjack things, just mention Star Wars. There you go. But as far as Owen in a Star Wars movie, I would like to see that conversation, or a conversation between Owen and Ben, where Owen tells Ben, like, stay the hell away from me and my family. Stay away from this kid. I don't want you anywhere near him. Like, just rip the page out of Star Wars Visionaries and put that on screen. That would work for me.
I could see them banding together at one point too, to like the one that Mark had posted recently in the VIP room, where it's Legends now, expanded universe stuff in the comics, Dark Horse Comics, I believe, and
yeah, that's from Visionaries.
Yeah, he just comes from behind and blows Maul's head right off. Like, Obi-Wan's about to do battle with Maul, and from behind, Owen just comes.
No, they'd already done battle.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that was the knockdown, drag out, old Obi-Wan and Maul fight. Actually, Obi-Wan wasn't that far removed from Revenge of the Sith, but that was the Twin Sons episode before we got Twin Sons. Like, that was an amazing bit with Robo Maul versus slightly older Obi-Wan. But yeah, it was Maul kind of beating up Uncle Owen and then having to take on Obi-Wan, and then just before that fight concludes, Owen, because Obi-Wan, he's not a killer. He struggled with the idea of killing him. He had the chance, and then Uncle Owen just put his giant blaster to Maul's head and finished him off. But yeah, I'm all for Uncle Owen on screen again. But if it means more Luke, I'm gonna stick with my take from Rebels that you can bring in Uncle Owen, but we don't need to see any of Luke beyond the small taste that Rebels gave us. Don't put him on screen. Don't retcon Luke's first on-screen appearance aside from being a newborn infant. Just don't do it. Okay, and quickly, Colin Trevorrow was talking to Cinema Blend website, and they were talking about Leia and Episode 9, and he was on record as saying, she was a major character. That's not a secret. She really was. So that's in reference to Episode 9 if Carrie Fisher had not passed away. So, just again, the quick math, if she's major if she was to be major in 9, it means she's surviving in 8. Since we've been told by Rian Johnson that The Last Jedi isn't changed. So, just want to reiterate that simple math there. And then he goes on to say, I feel like our options are limited mostly by ourselves, in that there's only a certain things that we are willing to do. I found that quote interesting. But I can guarantee it will be handled with love and respect and all of the soul that Carrie Fisher deserves. And again, there's no mention of how much Episode 9 had to change, but I imagine that's got to be quite a bit if one of your major players is gone. So Does that give you guys any relief? James, I'll kick that over to you first.
No. Does it give you relief? Relief's the wrong word. Because like when he says there's only certain things we're willing to do, I bet you that would really piss off Carrie Fisher. That they're like, that they feel so stunted by this. I bet you that would really annoy her. Like, I'm sure I don't know her at all, but I get the impression that she would be, of the mind, like, don't change my story. Don't let the actress's death change what you were going to do to this character. Like, I don't think she'd really want it to be more important than her role in the movie. That's the impression I get anyway.
I tend to agree, but just because it lines up with my opinion, so that's what I'm. But I do agree with that. I do think that she would want Leia's story completely told.
So yeah, when they say like there's only certain things we're willing to do, it makes it's for some reason I hear we're not willing to do what we had written down originally.
That's exactly what I hear.
Because what else are they not willing to do? Like if you're willing to do what was written down, then there's nothing to talk about. So there is something in what was written down before she died that they seem to be unwilling to do now, and that bothers me a little.
Yeah, it seems like recasting. They're unwilling to do that, and they can always say, "Oh, they'll never say it's because we're afraid of what the fans will do to us." They'll just say, "It's just the emotional connection here at Lucasfilm. We just can't cross that bridge." Okay, nobody's gonna really crush your skulls too hard for that one, but I do think it's unfortunate. It is nice to hear that, yes, I guarantee you that we're going to treat this with all the love and respect that it deserves. I wouldn't expect them to say anything else. What else could they say? But yeah, no, James, I'm concerned about that part. That there's only certain things that we're willing to do, and we're limited by ourselves. Well, I don't know if that's the smartest play. It's the easiest play, but I don't know if it's the best long-term play.
It's the safest play, but
it's the safest play.
Blech, for movie making and safe. Come on now.
Well, yeah. I knew you guys were both going to go, at least Kyle in the long run. I knew you were going to go down that path for sure, but for me, simply, it's not that cut and dry. It's not that easy. Like, I know you guys say recast, computer generated stuff. Like, we don't know how hard it would have been for them, first of all, but let's put it this way. I'm kind of on the same line as you guys. I want to know why. I'd like for us maybe to have a bonus scene within episode 8 when it comes out on DVD where they can kind of tackle the subject matter a little more. Or maybe it comes out in 9 where they say this is how the movie ended up and this is what ended up happening, and we get some explanation as to why they limited themselves to their options. You know what I mean? Like, was it the wishes of the family? Was it written into Carrie's contract? Like, who knows? We don't know what they're thinking and why they're doing what they're doing. But in the long run, it does give me a bit of comfort in the sense that they're not just gonna sweep this under the rug, which is important. Like, they are gonna try and do the subject its due diligence in some regard, as properly as they can, I guess, with the limited tools they're working with. But they know that there's a huge fandom out there for this film, and not only the fandom, but the world in general is going to want to watch this film, and the tragedy that happened is probably going to elevate that in some kind of weird way, and they're going to be under the microscope, and they know that. So, it's a difficult task for them, but they're going to try and deal with it as properly as they can, I'll say.
Well, I don't. It's a very loose definition, right? As properly as they can, define properly, right?
Well, that's
properly for you is different than properly for me, and it's different from properly from whatever everybody else thinks listening.
Well, I agree with that, but in the long run, I would like to just go back to the beginning and say that I hope we get some kind of, maybe a small documentary as to how this affected the film, and this is why they're limiting themselves and why they can't do certain things.
I think that might come out in like a making of The Last Jedi book years from now. I don't know if that they'll put that on a DVD at this point.
Well, I would think some explanation is kind of hopefully granted for fandom. I hope we would deserve it in some regard, you know.
Do you?
Well, all of
That's
us.
interesting.
I would
I see. I don't feel like we like, and I'm not saying that you're wrong to feel that way, but I just find it interesting that like as a fandom that we're owed something. I think that's pretty funny.
Well, we are pretty loyal.
Yeah.
I know. I haven't heard anyone ask the question as of yet. Maybe it's an inappropriate question as of right now, you know, like.
But it's obvious, right? It's obvious. They're not doing it because they don't want to recast. And they could fall on the sword themselves and say we as people couldn't do it at Lucasfilm. We just can't do that. But they're never going to come out and say we're terrified of fans tearing us to pieces. They'll never say that.
You know, there's people on the other side of the fence too, and sometimes I think this way as well, that, you know, Carrie Fisher was Leia, and that's that, you know, like, and I think that's the way they feel as well, you know. It's like they're hanging up the jersey in a way, like.
Well, it's what George Lucas said at Celebration, that Leia was Carrie, Carrie was Leia. To him, they were one and the same. So if Lucasfilm puts as much stock into Lucas's words as the rest of us, then it's not shocking to me that this is what they do.
And some part of me agrees with that as well in some strange way. Like, I'm confused about it still too, just like them.
Yeah, I mean, well, again, crappy situation, but it is what it is, and hopefully Colin Trevorrow and Derek Connolly are writing up the script of their lives. This needs to be the peak of their career. They need to do whatever they do here has to be the most amazing thing they ever do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they will be reviled forever.
How are you? Oh my god! Like, oof, that's just gotta make you go a bit crazy, you know.
Oh, the pressure is immense for this. The pressure to do something right and to not make it feel like that was your only safe choice. The pressure just must be immense. So anyway, this for me, I think this, because of this, if Leia is not involved in 9 whatsoever, I think this completely destroys the... not completely. I don't want to be so black and white, but this almost destroys the opportunity for Kylo's redemption. Like, I always thought that if he was going to be redeemed, it would be because he was going to sacrifice himself or save Leia in some way, and that would be how he comes back to the light. But I can't see how they make it work otherwise. I don't see him sacrificing himself for Rey or Luke and coming back that way. It doesn't seem like he's got enough... well, let's say I sacrificed myself for my uncle. That's okay. It's not great. And you already tried to kill Rey. Now you're trying to save her? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Well, that would be a good way to...
like, sorry, Corey.
Yeah, go
ahead.
I was just gonna say it would be a nice like way to end that trilogy. Really, you know, they end the first movie by going toe to toe, and then in the third one they're, you know, on the same side.
No, that doesn't. No, I don't like that. Ugh, that sounds yucky to me.
Yeah, you just have a beef with Kylo, and you'll never accept his redemption.
I could have. I don't want to see it. I've made no secret of that. But if I'm gonna see it, I want to see it because he did something benevolent for his mother. Whereas he killed his dad in cold blood, maybe he saves his mom in warm blood. or like James. I want to get James in here. He was gonna say something.
Yeah. So sorry, James.
No, it's all right. I was just, what if they wrote it like the scene where Kylo's trying to save like the good guys? So, you know, all of, you know, a bunch of them, Chewie and Rey and his mom, and he does the heroic thing, but like at the last second, like Leia can't deal with him doing that and tries to save him, but, you know, goes down with him. And so that's how they both die.
That could work if...
Is that more redeeming? If it's like he ends up saving Rey and Chewie, was trying to save Leia too, so that, you know, the nobility of the deed is maybe still intact, but she, you know, doesn't work. Somehow, whatever, he doesn't actually save his mom. She eats it too.
That could have worked if Leia was going to be in the movie, I suppose.
Yeah.
but she's not.
Yeah, that's
Unless
it.
unless they work her in some way that we never see her face, we just see a body double, and it's done with really quickly.
And we know, Kylo is moving on to episode 9, so.
Or it's done through like, blue, we see that they're talking through, hologram right before the death scene.
Or
Yeah.
this too, like it can go either way for him in the sense that, if she when she passes, and if he's not involved, finding out whoever did kill his mom might trigger something still as well. Finding out maybe it was Snoke or someone in the First Order, whatever it is, like he may say like, "Hey, that was my job. Like you had no right doing that," kind of,
Yeah, I hear you. Anyway, Colin Trevorrow, Derek Connolly, the weight of the world, the weight of Star Wars fandom is on your shoulders. Okay, so let's move ahead to some images that were supplied. I caught them on Making Star Wars, but they were on, I can't remember the exact name of the source now, but we get a look at some of the new walkers coming in The Last Jedi, as well as the Executioner Stormtrooper and the Praetorian Guard. And we'll breeze through this quickly. I want to talk about the First Order Walker, first of all. Because they were referred to early on as guerrilla walkers, and I could never understand why. I just didn't see... I just saw Walker. I don't see the guerrilla aspect to this. But now seeing
It's the
this
profile
new
shot. Yeah, the profile shot.
Yeah, the
does
profile
it.
shot makes it plainly obvious now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's cool. It looks like it's got the double-decker 747 extra hump on the back, plus it sort of looks like the skull of a gorilla from the side, especially.
And it looks like it walks on its hands.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it definitely looks cool. Like that's, again, in the article we read a while ago, it was said it was gorilla shaped. That cannon too on its back looks really cool. That's a big cannon.
Well, this is a walker on steroids, right? This thing is it's armored up, it's weaponed up, it's completely ready to destroy.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like I can't remember if I saw this somewhere, but I think this thing, like when you put it next to an AT-AT, I think this is called an ATM-6. But when you put it beside the AT-AT, it's like it makes it pale in comparison on a scale ratio.
Like the AT-AT could walk under this?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
That much bigger?
I think so.
Interesting.
But again, it's all, I think, speculation at this point.
You know what I'm seeing with this is, with the hands, or I guess the feet, the way they are with those almost like claw-looking hands.
Mm-hmm.
Combine that with the rumor that the Resistance is going to be hiding out in mines or in caves on the planet Crate, the place with that red dust. And I think we'll see a scene where these walkers dig out the Resistance from that base, like smash through the roof of their base and just...
Oh, they start boring holes.
Yeah, and just start pulling the roof off the place.
That'd be
I
kinda
could
cool.
totally see that.
Yeah, I could see that. Even look under the chin. There's there's a shovel there too.
Yeah, it looks like it's designed just for that.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see those on screen. Executioner Stormtrooper. You guys get any vibes from this guy?
Meh.
The only thing that it did for me, it gives me like a bit of a throwback Clone Wars feel.
Yeah, with the paint job, yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. But like James said, meh. Like I hate these melee weapons that they're getting. I didn't like that baton. Was it FN 2199 from The Force Awakens? Traitor! That guy. I hated that weapon. I don't like this one. It's got like 3 spinning blades. Like, what is that? I don't dig that whatsoever.
No,
I agree.
I have to agree with that too. That other spinning one
I guess
too
it'll be good. I guess it's a double-edged sword for collectors, right? They have more.
No, it's
options.
a triple-edged sword.
Oh. James may have just titled the episode. Nice job. Triple-edged sword. Yeah, no, I'm not impressed by that at all. I guess I'll reserve final judgment till we see it on screen, but I'm not too stoked about that guy. And then the Praetorian Guard. I've seen a couple pictures of these guys now, and I'm left wondering is, like, what do the rest of the guys look like, and how do these guys differ from the Knights of Ren? You guys want to talk about how they look, or how do they fit in?
Well, I mean, it's keeping us in our familiar zone. You know what I mean? They look like a 2.0 version of the Imperial Guard, kind of, right?
The Royal Guard, yeah.
Yeah, the Royal Guard. So, when you think of them in regards to, like, well, versus the Knights of Ren, like, the Knights of Ren are kind of like Kylo's boys, they're a bunch of, like, hoodlum thugs, maybe, a little more, whereas these guys are a little more prim and proper and kind of guarding the man Snoke, they're a little more formal in training and attire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sort of got the impression if like the Knights of Ren are the Russian mob, then these guys are like the Swiss Guard.
That's a good way of putting it, I suppose.
Yeah, the costumes are almost as colorful too.
Well, I mean, again, it's keeping us in that familiar zone of being like all red, just like the Emperor's guys, and yeah, I mean,
you can already see toy manufacturers just licking their chops over these guys. Not only the Knights of Ren, but the Praetorian Guard too. They're just going to have so many opportunities to pack these guys in a 1-pack, 2-pack, 6-inch, 3 3/4, and the larger, like the 12-inch scale, the 18-inch scale. Oh,
I got to be
boy.
honest with you. The cynic in me sees that when I see these new costumes come out. I'm like, oh,
how it's part of it.
Of course, it's part of it, but sometimes I don't like when it becomes such a big part of it that I wonder if the toy was written before the character in the story. You know what I mean?
No, it's true. It's like Lucasfilm tells them, okay, like, yeah, okay, you got the story, but you have a quota of, like, we have to have like 100 new characters or whatever, like we have to have like 15% new Stormtrooper.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think I see sometimes, but who knows if it works, how it works exactly. But no, I hope it doesn't work that way.
I feel it too, though. There's a lot of things that are just put in there because they know that fandom just eats it up no matter what, right?
Look at us, bunch of cynical Canadians. Are we betraying our nation's roots here? Aren't we supposed to be just happy and just?
Hey,
just
we're politely cynical.
Yeah, it's true. We're doing it with grace.
What else we got here? Donald Glover says Lando is a complicated dude. Source of Deadline magazine.
Great.
Okay, so here's this quote. I think Han isn't as complicated as Lando is. From the first time you meet him, you don't know whether or not to trust him, and you're constantly not knowing whether to trust him. I disagree with that. I mean, yes, Han sets him up as a bit of a slippery character, and throughout Empire, even the first part of Bespin, you don't know what you're going to get. But from the moment he springs the trap for the stormtroopers, and it frees Chewie and Leia, see, I can trust this guy. He's cool. So I don't know. I think that comment is a bit exaggerated. What do you guys think?
I think the comment really only works based on the introduction of the characters. Or maybe what I mean is you never really doubt when you watch Star Wars if Han's a good guy. You do doubt whether or not Lando's a good guy. So, like, in that sense, I sort of see where he's coming from, but mostly I agree with what you said.
Yeah, I'm kind of...
It doesn't take long to turn tail on Lando and... all right, you're part of the family. Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at it a bit differently here. I know him and Lando and Han, they definitely have some kind of bond. They have a very great mutual respect for one another, and I think here's why. Because, I think James said this, it depends on kind of how they grew up, and I believe Han and Lando will have grown up very differently. When we meet them, Lando is going to be a little more mature, definitely a lot more suave. He's an entrepreneur, whereas Han's kind of like this gruffy, like scruffy, like duke him out kind of guy. Yeah, nerf herder, whatever. But they're very two different people, but they're both very cool. But Hondo's definitely a lot more suave, and I like what Donald Glover said here in the sense that, you don't know if you can trust him. And I think the perfect example, and this is how it's going to play out in the movie in a sense, is when you look at how he premiered or was in Rebels, right? They're like, we need your help. We have two, I think they were shield batteries or something, and we can give you 2 of them, Lando. And he's like, yeah, well, if you're offering me 2, it means you have 6, and, I think 3 is fair. And he just knows what's going on, like he's a total entrepreneur businessman. Even at the end of the episode, my boy Chop steals this awesome fuel cell from him, right? Like in the midst of a firefight, there's this huge firefight going on, and Chop's just like pushes this fuel cell on board the Ghost. And, at the end of the episode, Lando was just like, yeah, well, I don't have your money and I owe you some time, And then they take off, and he's talking to his own droid saying, I saw that droid take off with my fuel. And it's kind of one of those things like, never show your cards. And he's totally going to be that guy in this film. Whenever he meets up with Han, he's probably going to present himself as his friend, and they will become friends, fast friends. But in the same regard, Lando is going to have his own agenda. And when he sees this moment to pounce, he's going to do so. But this is where it gets interesting. Like, we know Han got the Falcon from Lando. So I think this is going to all lead into how Han gets his name, what Lucasfilm had said a while ago. Because he's going to get the one-up on Lando. He's going to get the one-up on everybody. Like, Han's going to get the galaxy in this caper or whatever that goes on. It's like everyone's going to have a beef with him at the end of this film. He's going to make a name for himself. And Lando, even though he gets got, he's going to be looking at Han riding off into the sunset with his own ship with a smile on his face and being like, that bastard got me, Like, it's going to be a full circle trip for Han. Like, from that scruffy guy to the guy that came out on top.
Sorry, Corey, our mic wasn't working. Could you start that over?
He's going to deal Han an idiot's array. That was the short version. He's going to deal Lando an idiot's array. Anyway.
I think everything that happens to Han in the movie, like winning the Falcon, will be sheer luck. I think Han doesn't do anything that's planned. Especially when he's younger. I think he's going to fall ass backwards into everything, and it's going to somehow work out for him.
I don't know. I see this kind of like... Yeah, I kind of agree with you in the sense that he's going to be caught in this huge mess, but he's going to have to use his wits to get out of it, and he's going to come on top. I think we've speculated as well that possibly even Woody Harrelson's character Beckett is going to turn on him at one point. And yeah, like it's just going to be him against the world, and he's gonna like screw over everybody, and they're all gonna be like Solo.
Well, yeah, that's it. Han is definitely gonna screw a lot of people over in his own lovable way.
Yeah, he's gonna make a name for himself.
So I can't imagine. I mean, with a talent like Donald Glover doing Lando, do you think there's a chance that there's going to be a Lando spin-off movie as well, or is that stretching too far?
With a talent like Donald Glover, you might want to take advantage of that, but it does seem like a bit of a stretch at this point. Again, it depends how this movie goes, I think. But
yeah, in the end, if people just fall in love with Donald Glover's version of Lando, maybe people start clamoring. Give us more Lando. That was amazing.
You think Lucasfilm will have more foresight than the people at DC who didn't sign the director, what's her name, for a Wonder Woman sequel?
Patty Jenkins is not signed for part 2?
No, and I read this article today about how it's probably going to cost them. Because the fans want it, and they're probably going to, have to look at it now, and it's going to cost them a whole lot more now that she's not under contract.
Oh, yeah. Her stock has risen super high now. Yeah. Absolutely. That kind of foresight will definitely cost you.
What would you think?
Lack of foresight.
What would you think about a Lando movie? They'd have to act on this quite quickly, just for aging purposes, but a movie that takes place between Empire and Jedi about could tackle maybe a couple subject matter. I don't want to say Death Star plans, but it would tackle primarily Lando's story of infiltrating Jabba's palace.
I don't know. That feels more like a book to me.
Yeah, me too. But that's why I'm trying to see where would Lando get a movie, right?
There's no movie for Lando.
No, I don't think so either.
Glover's going to have to do, and probably will, but he'll have to use his 15 minutes of Star Wars fame because there's nowhere else for him.
I guess it could depend on what backstory they build for Lando.
True.
If they connect him to a prestigious group or family that they've done all kinds of stuff across the galaxy, that their name is a big one across the galaxy, maybe.
Yeah, you would think.
But yeah,
is he self-made man, or is he like is he an entrepreneur?
A silver spoon?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know Lando's back history, his family history
Maz
very
does.
much.
I'm convinced. When she said that thing about his eyes, she was talking about his dad.
Dude.
I don't doubt Maz. All right, lastly, guys, we're gonna hit all these news items really quickly. I can't believe it. Star Wars Newsnet posted some better pictures from the Fuerteventura set from the Han Solo movie, and it was a couple really good shots. And it definitely looks to me like a refinery or processing plant of some kind. And I think they mentioned that in the piece itself. But for me, that rules out Tatooine. Leaving the door open, 'cause like I said, I don't want to be so black and white. But Tatooine, in my mind, doesn't have anything worth refining or processing. So, what do you think, Corey? What do you think of these images?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm kind of on the same page as you. To me, there's not all that much there for me. It does look like a refinery. Does not look like Tatooine. I've been saying that from the beginning, that I really don't think it is Tatooine. I'm glad it's not Tatooine either. Yeah. I don't... It kind of falls into that whole Western vibe, but I don't know where and how it's going to play into the movie. Like, it just could be a passing, fleeting glimpse of something, you know what I mean?
Do you think it could be Jakku or a third? Is it a third desert planet?
Definitely, to me, I told you last week, I think I don't care if it's a third desert planet. There's nothing wrong with that. There's lots and lots and lots of deserts out there. Again, even on our own planet. So, yeah, I mean, it's a common theme. Like, I know you're saying, like, but I would think the majority... It would almost be hard to think that every planet is just teeming with life, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure, of course. There's always going to be some diversity and range in the planets you get.
And the Western vibe, got to fall into that, so... Wherever they are, it looks very dingy, and it's kind of off the beaten path.
James, what's your take?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. We can pass over this segment pretty quickly because I'll add very little, other than the fact that I also don't have a problem with it. I mean, it's a big galaxy, so if it's another completely desert planet, or like Corey said last week, if there happens to be some desert on that planet, either way, it doesn't look like Tatooine, and we got a year left to find out.
Yeah, imagine that. So, okay, quickly here. Based on what you've seen and heard so far from both The Last Jedi and Han Solo, the scales are tipped a little bit towards The Last Jedi, but which movie are you more excited for? The Last Jedi or Han Solo?
Go for it,
That's
James.
a tough question.
Because there are some things about The Last Jedi that have us a little bit nervous, right? Whereas the Han Solo movie, it's almost like playing with house money. There's nothing to be afraid of with this flick.
Yeah, I'll say it like this. It's odd in a way. Saga stuff versus anthology stuff, to me, it's a bit like apples and oranges now. They're very two different things. One's kind of staying on this certain note and a vibe, whereas these anthologies can kind of take on almost any genre, if you will. I think that's
the thing. That's the thing. The Last Jedi seems to maybe not be doing that one familiar note. It could be going way outside the lines.
I think in my heart of hearts, I'm always going to usually veer toward the saga, just because that's the heart of Star Wars, really, and it's what we grew up with. It's what's going on. We want the answers to the saga and the Skywalker family and what's going on. With recent events, again, as we've been talking about quite a lot lately, I'm I've taken it all into consideration. I'm a little nervous. And on the other hand, we got Han Solo, which I have great feelings about. I think it's going to be a great Star Wars movie. It's going to be something totally different that fandom's really never seen before. It's got everything going for it, from Kasdan being the writer to the possible storylines with Chewie, Lando, Falcon, Beckett, the Kessel Run, Jabba. There's just so much that could be thrown into this film that it's got the potential to be probably, I'm going to say, in the least, my favorite anthology film, even though there's only been one. I'm really excited for this, and again, I'm really excited for both, but my heart is kind of always with the sagas in a way.
Yeah,
James?
I think other than like a proximity bias, I think I'm more excited about Han Solo. Like, the other one's closer, right? The Last Jedi is closer. We've been talking about it more. It feels like it's more real. So that makes it, puts it close. But I think if they were both 200 days away, I'd be much more excited about the Han Solo movie.
Because it seems like it's just it plays more into your idea of what Star Wars is.
No,
a safer
I'm
thing?
excited about it because I think it's totally safe. I'm not really worried about anything. I think it just sounds like it's going to be a super fun ride. Whereas there's a bunch of stuff I'm excited for The Last Jedi, don't get me wrong, but there's a bunch of things that I'm sort of concerned about, and so that definitely dulls the excitement.
Yeah, I'm leaning a little bit towards saga. I mean, I'll have the same gripe about Han Solo that I had about Rogue One, is that it's not a complete Star Wars thing for me without lightsabers and Jedi. So we'll get that in The Last Jedi. But, again, you might get some things that you're not pleased with. But James, as you said, we're going to go into Han Solo, and I have no doubt we're going to go into that movie and come out like in pain because we'll be smiling and laughing so much and having such a good time watching this movie.
Yeah.
So I think there's so much potential for this to be. In fact, I already know. I know this is going to be a really amazing, fun movie. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I'm really positive about this film too. And again, it's got everything going in, from the cast, the crew, the potential storylines that they could take. They have so much fodder and material to work with, and money and everything at their disposal, that they're just throw it all at this movie, and it looks like the stars are aligning for it, because I'm feeling it, man. I am feeling it. But yeah, I mean, again,
and just think that a lot of people didn't want this movie.
Yeah, it's odd.
No, I don't need.
It's
I don't.
odd.
Han Solo's cooler. Han Solo's a cooler character if we don't know anything about his past. Don't give us that movie.
You had to know they were going to do it. Once they announced anthologies, and then character-driven anthologies, you can't not.
Yeah, I guess you're right. At a certain point, it became clear that Han Solo's a bankable character and he's going to be in there. But again, there's still holdouts. There are still people saying I don't care.
Yeah, but not just bankable. I mean, if you knew it was going to be him, because if Star Wars is about somebody that's not the Skywalkers, basically Star Wars is, Han Solo is basically the star of Star Wars.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, it's no shock. And I think even the naysayers, a lot of them have been slowly won over by the string of good news that we had, like great signings, positive feedback from everybody who's looked at anything that's had to do with the script. I don't know. I think a lot of people have been won over.
Yeah, we're in store for something very different, I believe, man. Something really fun and different. Lots of potential.
Well, that's what Tandy Newton said. Tandy Newton was on record earlier this week saying that the Star Wars or the Han Solo movie was way more different than anything she's ever done. But of course, she couldn't elaborate further. So you can make up your own mind as to what she was getting at. But that's it, guys. Good news. Good job on the news. High fives all around.
Yeah, we'll
take a quick break, and then we'll get to Ads Edition.
Hello chaps, hope everyone is enjoying their evening. Question this week is to do with Carbonite. So, when I visited Star Wars Identities earlier on this year, one of the things on display was Mr. Carbonite himself, Han Solo. Something that would look pretty damn awesome in your own house. So, in the hypothetical scenario that you A, have a house that is big enough for this, and B, your wives allow you to have these on display alongside the Carbonite replica full-size Han Solo, which other Star Wars character would you want to also display in Carbonite? And then how about a non-Star Wars individual, whether that is real life or from, a film, etc. So nothing too taxing this week, but something maybe that you can apply your brain cells to. I'll enjoy listening. As always, take care. See you next week. Bye.
There goes ads once again. Thank you, sir. Great question again this week. Great questions. And yes, I definitely agree that how cool would a full-size Han Solo in Carbonite prop look in your house?
That was my favorite. We talked about it not too long ago. I think it was probably about a month ago. That was my fave. Like, if I have one thing in a man cave in my basement, like I'd love to have a bar with just that set up in the corner with a few tropical plants and stuff. It would be my prized possession.
You guys have seen that custom stainless steel fridge that has that, right?
Yeah.
That's the ultimate bar fridge.
Yeah, it's cool. There's coffee tables. They did everything.
The fridge and the coffee table is like the good compromise, but nothing would beat having the full thing hanging in your wall. That'd be so cool. But anyway, on to Ad's first question here. Which Star Wars character would you like to display in Carbonite? And I don't know which angle you guys took, but I just took some of the characters that I don't like and threw them in Carbonite. So, Corey, who you got first?
Yeah, I got a few of them too. I definitely took it in a different direction as well. I took it. Who would I like to see? Who would look visually cool? Who makes sense? So I got a few there. So visually cool and then just cool all around. I'd like to see a set of droids, including Chop, R2, and 3PO, possibly.
Fair enough. James, who are you throwing in Carbonite?
That would look cool, Corey. I debated back and forth, and I sort of had two lists. One of characters that I would want to capture in Carbonite because they're my favorite characters, and then who would I want to just freeze up because they annoy me, and I'd like to just put them away and hang them on my wall. So I put as my character I don't really like very much, but I think it would look cool in Carbonite, General Grievous.
Oh! Why didn't I think of that?
That would look cool. That would be quite big.
Oh,
that would be
I'd love to put that loser in Carbonite.
Dude, that'd be at least a good 8 feet wide?
Yeah, it'd be a big one.
Oh, I'm pissed I didn't get that one. That's good, James. Nice job. And Corey, if you're putting droids in Carbonite, couldn't you just take their power source out and save yourself the trouble?
It's art, man. It's a statement. Picture an astromech would look really dope, and then 3PO oh no.
They did an episode in the Clone Wars, which kind of retcons our first introduction to Carbon Freeze, but it also maybe gives us the idea of where Vader came up with doing it on Solo, because he did it to himself. You remember that episode?
I don't think I'm there yet, to be honest.
Oh, well. Spoiler alert. There's an episode where they go to infiltrate a prison to spring somebody out. I think one of a Jedi Master. And they decide the only way to get into this impenetrable fortress, because they have the Separatists have scanners and they'll be detected, is to carbon freeze themselves.
That's not the one with Tarkin and...
Yeah. Tarkin's in it.
Okay, yeah, I did see that one. That's the one with that little guy. What's his name?
It's Even Peel, I think.
Yoda.
Yeah. Almost close. He's about Yoda's height. He's got a Russian accent. It's kind of funny.
So in that episode, they throw themselves... Anakin, Obi-Wan, a bunch of clones, they all freeze themselves. So no wonder Vader knows the trick is viable in Empire. Anyway, you know who I'm putting in Carbonite?
Give it to me.
You'll enjoy this, Corey. Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Hmm.
Screw that
Oh,
guy.
nice.
Get on my wall.
Get on my wall.
That's interesting. You know, I'm going to get to that kind of theme toward the end here with Ad's second question, but I'm going to go, you know, I said I couldn't do it to a Jedi just because, you know, Jedis have no place in Carbonite unless they're doing it willfully, like Kyle just said. Yoda looks so cool. Ad sent us that picture. Yoda looked really cool in Carbonite. A little, you know, you can have this little mini version of a little Carbonite block in the corner. That could actually not take up too much room and you might get away with it. But how cool would Boba Fett look beside him? Ooh, how the tables have turned.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. That'd be pretty cool. All right, James, do you have any others?
Well, if we're doing like trophies that I just think would look awesome and I want on my wall, I'd probably put Rey in Carbonite. I just like Corey said, it's art.
You know,
It's art.
I got one more here. It's kind of taking it in a bit of a different direction, but okay, this would not only look cool, but I started thinking who would make sense and why. And I found a character that can fit in the story of Star Wars. It could kill two birds with one stone, really. If you choose Hondo, because Hondo deserves it. It's really fitting for his character. Just imagine like Hondo, like, oh no, like, bah. You know, just get frozen.
Well, you can imagine him having the silliest smirk on his face as he gets frozen too.
Then you can keep a cool character around for a long time. You know, Hondo can show up again, like, who knows, a decade later. Hey, what's this guy floating in space? Let's pull him on board. I'm Hondo Onaka. You know, like,
I can't see.
yeah, well, you know, you'd probably have a bit of hibernation sickness there, but, I mean, it's a good way of keeping a character around anyhow, and his character would really fit that, I find, you know, like, I don't know, it just kind of made sense to me.
I agree with that. The other guy I'm throwing in Carbonite, Mace Windu. You idiot. So much is his fault. That idiot's going right into a slab of concrete.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. You know, he had the purple saber. It's supposed to represent a bit of like dark side and dark and the light, and he's just like, I don't believe the Sith could reappear without us knowing.
Oops. All right, so let's move on to Ad's second question. Non-Star Wars characters to put in Carbonite. Now, I'll warn you, I got a list.
I got a long list.
Pretty much everybody's on this list.
Oh wow, you guys! I didn't go too hard into it.
Okay, well, we'll let you go first then. Who's on your non-Star Wars list?
Okay, I don't know if you guys are gonna think this is bloody brilliant or just really lame, but how cool, beside your Han Solo, would be Indiana Jones?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. With Fedora, though.
Oh.
Otherwise, how would you know?
Of course.
James?
You want like the best one I got, or do you want me to build to it? Because I have one that I think basically, if you're going to Carbonite somebody not from Star Wars, I think I found like the ultimate guy that you'd want to have. Like annoying, cageable character. Like I think I got the penultimate guy.
Hit us.
Newman.
Okay, I'm scratching them off my list.
That's awesome.
Newman's on the list.
He has
Newman.
to be.
He
Come
has
on.
to be.
If you not only is he like super annoying and lovable, but like he's lovable for being super annoying. Like he's the guy that everybody would want to have caged because everybody understands that that's the guy you're supposed to love to hate.
Yeah, Newman was on the list. I've got two characters from The Walking Dead, Negan and Father Gabriel.
I knew Negan was going to come up tonight. I didn't put him on my list, but I knew for sure he was going to come up.
I was sick of him after. I was so looking forward to seeing that type of villain, just the terrifying, intimidating presence. I got it, and then within 3 or 4 episodes, I was so fed up. the lean on the lean that he has, and I love the actor. But I'm sick of Negan. So yeah, he's going in Carbonite, and Father Gabriel because he's such a jerk. What a spineless turd. So he's going to join him.
Nice.
And I would say that there's a lot of political figures that I wouldn't mind throwing into Carbonite and taking them out of the gene pool. But that's for another show.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to trump your list, but I also want to offer up Honey Boo Boo.
Nicely done.
That little pain in the ass deserves to be carbonated. There's just so much of her I can handle.
Absolutely.
And did you mention? Oh, well, I wanted to skip back. The most annoying character for me from Star Wars was Watto. I think I'd carbonate Watto before anybody else.
That's a good call.
It's funny how you guys both took this in the sense of like carbonating people to like imprison them and
Oh, I know. Like yeah. There's different ways to tackle this. Like a cool decoration versus I hate this guy, so I'm gonna punish him.
Yeah, that's kind of where I took my last one. But I mean, James already kind of stole my thunder. But if I ever get this my actual carbonate freezing mechanism thingy over here working, I would totally. Not only would it look awesome, but you'd just be doing the world a service. But yeah, totally Trump. Just picture him and so many of his famous positions, like making fun of a handicapped man or, just looking like he's about to say the F word. Just stop and freeze.
I didn't mean to steal your thunder. I thought I was just transitioning smoothly.
No, I guess it was low-hanging fruit, but it popped into all our minds, I guess. But I'd love to have that responsibility. It's like, yeah, he could definitely stay with me.
And he'll be a dartboard after. Okay, so I've got the Fratellis on my list.
Wow, I like it.
Yeah, the Fratellis, man.
Interesting.
In a similar vein, well, not quite similar, but same era. Biff Tannen's going in Carbonite.
I had Biff Tannen. Stop it.
Nice.
I like Biff Tannen. That makes sense to me.
I had to look up the names of my next ones. I don't know this because I watched this crap. I looked this up. But Jacob Black and Edward Cullen are getting a 1-2 same carbonite frame. Those are the idiots from the Twilight.
Yeah, I have on my list the entire cast of Twilight.
Shut up.
Okay. Stay tuned, boys. I'm taking a picture of this. And I'm sorry for everybody watching. Listening. This is not quite helping you very much, but that's
post it to Twitter.
Remarkable.
Let's see.
Yeah,
that's a great minds.
I put 2X for Kristen Stewart because I'd put her in Carbonite, and then put her in Carbonite again. She just
double Carbonite.
She drives me crazy.
Yeah, even on her, I can't even believe she actually booked SNL, but on her recent SNL performance, it was kind of whatever.
Painful?
Yeah, and she even botched that right in the monologue.
Oh,
she's brutal.
Terrible.
She should take a long walk off a short pier.
That's not very nice. But again, iconic. It's like, oh man, like I'm thinking art-wise, I'm like, I want to do it to Batman, but I'm just like, no, like Batman's not getting frozen. Sorry, he's like a Jedi in his own right. But maybe Colossus, something like that.
Well, see, I think you would rather just like have Colossus turn metal and then somehow, I don't know, just without carbonating him because it's the chrome shine that you want.
Yeah, I guess you're right, eh?
If you just like dump a bunch of lacquer on him and hold him in place. I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Sam Witwicky, come on down.
Oh boy.
Good for you.
And I have a couple of real life people
Well, I want to go. Let's go back to the Sam Witwicky thing, like really quickly. I know this is an SD kind of thing, but God,
Megan Fox.
no! Just the whole premise to that movie is your grandfather saw this image with these glasses 100 years ago, and they're imprinted in there forever, and that's where the story lies.
That's the technology you have a problem with in the movie?
I
It's
thought
a
that
bit
was
of a leap.
the technology that almost made sense. Laser engraving. That's all it was.
It was a leap.
That was a leap, but there are a few others to make in order to watch a Transformers movie.
But I guarantee Corey's okay with this part. Before time began, there was the cube. You're okay with that, though. I'm sure of it.
No.
Yeah, you are.
No, when you say something like before time began, it's like you're saying there's robots before time. Like, no, there's robots. The robots created the galaxy, basically. Like, one cool thing that whatever. We should save this for SD, but anyhow.
And then real life people on my list: John Travolta, Chris Kreider of the New York Rangers, and Brad Marchand of the Boston Bruins.
Well, I'll throw Steve Avery in there. And my last of if we're going to do real life, this one's going to be really big, but my last one is going to be Smaug the Dragon.
Oof.
Ooh. That's a lot of... I don't know if you can afford that, son.
Hey, listen. You didn't give me a limited amount of carbonite.
That's a lot of carbonite.
Remember, Ad said you also had to have your wife's permission. Listen, babe, we're building our house around Smaug the Dragon, frozen in carbonite.
There are some of these my wife would be totally on board with. Well, I also had on my list a large number of characters from the cartoons that my kids watch. Like all of Henry Hellmonster is going to get carbonated, and I know my wife would be okay with that.
Caillou, carbonite.
Thank God we don't watch him here.
Yeah, us too.
We don't watch him here either.
Yeah, there's a lot of those characters with just, that's it for you. I've had enough of your crap.
What's wrong with Henry Hellmonster?
Everything.
It's when you
It's
start seeing.
everything.
It's when you see them the same episode 3-4 times.
300-400 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I
That's
can
the
watch a lot of their shows over and over, and it's tough, but I can deal. Henry Hellmonster, from the just drop of the puck, I'm out. I cannot stand him. All right, ads.
Great question.
That was fun. I hope you guys got some laughs out of that one.
When I heard the question from Ads, I'm going to send Ads off on a joke. It reminded me of this joke. So I spoke to Santa Claus face to face, and he said, "What do you want for Christmas?" And I said, "I want a dragon like Smaug." And he said, "Be realistic." I said, "All right, fine. I just want to play golf whenever I want without getting in trouble from the wife." And he said, "What color dragon do you want?"
That's amazing. Okay, so last week, as you recall, we were asked to by Ads to freeze frame our favorite shot from Star Wars, and so we all did our due diligence. But then Matt Keegan came around and said, "Okay, now you got to do one from each of the prequels," because we gave the prequels no love. We would just say all we would say is, they're cool looking movies, but nothing iconic. So he's putting our feet to the fire, and he wants us to pull something out. So, who wants to go first with this one? Let's do the Phantom Menace first, Corey.
Well, see, your question's kind of not really telling me that you had to choose one from each film. But again, I'll top of the list. Duel of the Fates, super super simple. Duel of the Fates. I mean, you could just continually go on and stop pause throughout that scene, and it's gold.
So just for the record, here's what we have in the show notes. Same deal as Ads challenge, but one frame from each of the prequels. 3 picks you'd frame in your house.
Yeah, could you be a little more clear that it had to be one from each next time, Kyle?
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, I will capitalize and bold each.
Either way, I still have one from each. So,
Well, way to go. You read the question correctly. Okay, so James, Phantom Menace.
Well, yeah, Duel of the Fates is on my list too. And frankly, if we're just picking an image from the prequel, that poster, remember that poster? Of course you do.
With the shadow.
Yeah, the shadow. That's right at the top of my list too.
That blew everybody away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing. Everything about that, not just how cool and simple it was, but everything it represented, was awesome. But I think I picked something that's maybe a little more off the beaten path. There's an image where Anakin's in front of the Jedi Council, and like the sun is setting in the background outside the panoramic windows.
Yep.
And you sort of all the Jedi are sitting down, and so Anakin's at least as tall as all of them. I don't know, just there's a few freeze frames in that shot that are really beautiful. Is that the right word? Striking.
Yeah,
it's a really cool scene.
Yeah,
I'll send you guys.
Striking's a good one.
Yeah, I've got some freeze frames because I did some digging around today. I'll send you guys one over the Facebook machine. But yeah, I'm gonna pick that as my freeze frame.
Yeah, mine is when Anakin. It's during Duel of the Fates, but it's got nothing to do with the combatants there. It's when Anakin's starfighter, the N1 Naboo starfighter, takes off from the hangar, and you see the shot of the Theed hangar below, and that I always loved that ship, the yellow chrome ship. I just find that a really great shot. So I would definitely not say no to having that on my wall. Okay, so let's move on to Attack of the Clones. Corey, what's yours?
I'm glad you're giving me first whack here because I'm really going with all the low-hanging fruit here. Attack of the Clones. Again, so there's some really nice stuff in there. Like the battle through the asteroid field is really cool.
Oh, come on. There's only one really striking scene. We're all going to say it.
What, the unveiling of the clone army?
Oh, okay. So maybe we're not all going to say it.
Yeah, that's a pretty epic scene, and it's pretty cool when you see all those troops like coming out of nowhere, and it's like the Grand Army of the Republic. Like it's pretty striking.
That's your final answer?
Well, I have another one for the prequels as well, and looking back, there's a lot of diversity about how people feel about this, about Yoda lightsaber battling. But I'll tell you, man, there's been posters made. When it's like total Western style, like going for the gun when Yoda kind of brings his lightsaber into his hand when he's about to battle Dooku.
Yeah.
So there's that, and that was an iconic moment. But I have to say, that was probably the best part of seeing that movie in the theater, because there was a huge fan reaction in seeing it during the premiere night. Like, people were just like, like, everyone was just like, oh my god, we're finally gonna get to see this. This is amazing,
And then he started jumping around. My iconic shot. James, did you do yours yet?
I did not, but go ahead.
Mine is like right from the very opening of the film. It's with Padme's ship descending through the clouds in Coruscant, and you see buildings poking up through the clouds. So mine would be like, those pictures you have in your living room that's like 3 separate photos that make up one?
Yep.
It'd be one of those gigantic panoramic type things. I love that shot.
Look at you getting all artsy.
What's my job?
Graphic artsy?
You make the show notes.
Wow.
No, that's a good one.
So James, what's yours from Attack of the Clones?
Mine is the only scene that Mace Windu looks really good in, because you can only see his lightsaber from very far away. I think the scene where the Jedi are
surrounded.
Yeah, and any of the takeaway shots where you just see like dozens of lightsabers lit up at the same time. I don't know. There's something about that scene that I always thought looked amazing.
Yeah, another kind of iconic shot too is Boba holding Django's head in his hands.
Wah, wah, wow.
Yeah, whatever.
I thought that whole storyline was kind of needless. And what is he doing there, just sitting there watching this happen?
He's such
So
a little
bizarre to
he's such a little brat in that. Yep.
Oh, he is. He's
Yeah.
such a. Oh,
Yep.
I should put him in. Well, you put him in Carbonite, but I'm gonna put young Boba in Carbonite too.
Yep.
Before we get any further, I wanted to give an honorable mention to Gungan City.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
kind of cool when
Yeah,
When they're swimming
that's
down
a
there.
memorable one.
and the music to that scene.
Yeah, it was cool. Visually, very, very, very good looking scenes.
Yep, absolutely. Guys, I'm going to interrupt you here. Just to let you know that the Pittsburgh Penguins have won the Stanley Cup.
Oh,
for real?
no.
Ah, how about that?
1-0?
2-0.
Empty
What?
netter. Gross.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
I checked right
Hey, the
before we got
champs
back from
put their foot down.
I checked after the break and it was still 0-0, no?
Yeah, me too. Ah,
Dang.
Oh well, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
we're going to make noises like this. Ah.
Let's take it in a positive fashion, and we're gonna say that it's gonna not only uplift Star Wars, it's uplifting and inspiring Mr. Filoni because he's a huge fan of the Penguins. So we're just gonna say the work that he's gonna put out there moving forward is gonna be amazing.
There you go. There's the connection to Star Wars. Okay, Revenge of the Sith. Lastly here. Corey, what you got?
Well, I think I said it last week. It made my list for all-time stuff. Iconic. Battle on Mustafar.
Yeah.
So good. So good. Co-directed by Spielberg. Just beautiful stuff. And another kind of iconic shot. Don't know if I necessarily have it on my wall, but definitely iconic shot is the Wookiee uprising on Kashyyyk.
Yeah, that's a cool one. James, what do you got for Revenge of the Sith? Well,
I'm
that's
boring.
a movie you haven't seen in a long time, right?
No, it's true. So when I went into the sort of memory bank, I just instantly went to same thing Corey said, bold letters written down, Battle of Mustafar.
Yeah, makes sense.
Lava, fire, lightsabers. What's not to like?
Yeah, it's so good. It's all about that one scene where they're kind of both holding each other's hand, like holding each other's wrists, I guess, while trying to gain footing with the, that, what do you call it? The explosion of lava or whatever in the background. There's a word for that, but
Eruption?
I think it was
Yes.
something else. Like yeah, I guess, whatever.
Sorry about that, everybody. Yeah, I mean that's a really great scene. That was a scene that we'd been waiting for so long, since like early Lucas stuff, where we knew that Obi-Wan had battled Darth Vader on the cliff of a volcano, and that's how Darth Vader was born. He just damaged by burning lava. So to finally see that come to life was really rewarding. Maybe a little bit over choreographed, but still pretty rewarding. But my favorite shot is when Yoda and Obi-Wan try to re-enter the Jedi Temple. There's this really great shot, and they're outside at the base of the temple, and they're surrounded by clones that are trying to take them down. It's not the close in shot. It's really a far off shot. So you get the scale of the temple, and just two little Jedi. It's a really, really cool shot with great scale to it.
Yeah, I like scale shots.
And other than that, I would have that big establishing shot from Battle of Coruscant at the opening of the movie. So there you go, Mr. Keegan.
Yeah, that is nice, actually.
We gave the prequel some love.
Yeah, also, Kigo, I'm going to loophole you right quick, just one quickly here. Throwing in Rogue One, there's so many good visuals in Rogue One, but the true climax to Rogue One, I would think, is when Scarif blows up. And the moment between Jyn and Cassian. Everything else is kind of just like the cherry on top, right?
There's a shot in there that you liked?
Well, yeah.
I mean,
when
not that there's nothing to not like, but something jumps out at you as I'll put that on my wall.
yeah. I know you're probably going to call me a sap again, but just the moment that him and Jyn have on the beach when they know the end is about 2-3 seconds away and they just embrace each other.
You are such a sap.
I know.
You are a sap, dude.
Thanks, man.
I love it, but it's like
I love you too, man.
definitely sappy.
It's a great moment, dude. So that's the actual climax to that film, I would think. Everything else, again,
Well,
is just the cherry on top, really.
I just sent you a poster that you can hang on your wall since you love Star Wars so much and romance.
Oh no!
No, I don't have all
no!
It wasn't. That's not even romance. That's like there's so much more.
Romance?
To that. There's so much more to that. Their
So
relationship.
James sent us a picture of Leia planting one on Luke in Empire. Terrible. Okay, Matt Keegan, thank you, sir. We're going to get off this topic before we have to see more incest. But a challenge accepted, and I hope challenge excelled?
Accomplished.
Succeeded? Accomplished? There we go. All right, and Bradley's back this week with a question. Anybody want to read this one?
Have at it, Kyle.
I can read it if you want.
Hey, go for it, man. I'm gonna have a
All
sip of
right.
soda or 12 here while you do that.
From Dan Solo, because it's way shorter. No, just kidding. From Bradley. Hey, guys. This week's question is a hypothetical immunity question. Let's say you found out the Empire was not destroying planets, that Lucasfilm has plans to write in. Oh, my phone's going to make me scroll. More unthinkable. And, in fact, there will be several planets that will not make it to the end of the saga. You also found out that the saga was not going to end at 9, but rather at 12. So, a little good news with some bad. But Lucasfilm has one problem. They can't agree on which planets to destroy and which planets to save. So, in a last-ditch effort to keep the multi-billion-dollar company on schedule to keep producing the greatest story ever told, they come to you and ask for your opinion. If you could give immunity to one planet, only one, what planet would you save? What planet would survive the wrath of the Galactic Empire? So he goes on to give his answer. He says, my answer to this heart-wrenching question is Tatooine. Good answer. My answer is based purely on nostalgia. That's why I said good answer too. It's the planet that keeps on giving. It's with gorgeous sunsets and its rolling sand. It's spaceports that are filled with scum and villainy, which, by the way, has some of the coolest creatures that are out of this world. It's where Anakin and Luke grew up, and where Obi-Wan sacrificed some of his best reproductive years for the sake of the galaxy. So noble. It was home to the great Jabba the Hutt and Boba Fett, where Boba Fett met his end. Don't want to hear it. He's dead. And who could forget where Anakin went all, it's my year to carve the turkey. Oh, jeez. On my favorite bantha-riding common folk, the Sand People. It's where the Sarlacc pit hangs out, and where the greatest Jedi ever, Qui-Gon, never coming back, Jin, battled Darth Maul and lived to tell about it. That's true. For about a week. If that. And lest you forget, several of you last week said the most iconic shot in Star Wars was Luke watching the twin suns set. Could you imagine that location being gone forever? I can't. I could go on, but I won't because James is really having a hard time scrolling with his phone. No, that's not what it says. It says, I won't because what is important here is what you guys think, and I look forward to what you have to say. But I leave you with this. Beggar's Canyon. We can't lose this iconic landmark. Thanks, guys, for letting me carry on. I hope you have fun with this hypothetical immunity question. May the Force be with you always. Cheers. Bradley, P.S. Thank you for the kind words regarding my artwork, which was amazing. He's got some art he did of the twin suns setting, which is outstanding.
Yeah, no kidding. And yeah, thanks Bradley. And if you want to see Bradley's art, like it's actual painted artwork, ask him for it at Bradley W. Hall.
Okay,
right.
Just for the record, I'm reading it off my phone, which means I've got to scroll as I go, so I'm not really illiterate, just partially illiterate.
Okay, so Corey, you want to kick this one off?
Well, it's interesting. Like, it depends all on the way you're looking at it. Like, he took it from a nostalgic approach, which is kind of the way I think I would probably take it right off the bat as well. You got to look at what's good for the Force and what's good for the galaxy. Now, in regards to Tatooine, I'm pretty much on the same page. I've said this many times on the show, especially in the past, that I hope there's more of Tatooine within the saga. Tatooine's always been a hotbed, like Bradley pointed out. There's so much activity that's going on there. We have the Chosen One is born and found there. Or no, I think he was born somewhere else actually, but raised on Tatooine along with his son. You know, there's just so much going on in the background as well. I would love to find out just that the planet itself has more of a significance within the saga. Like, yeah, okay, like, again, it's not the first Jedi Temple, but maybe there are Jedi Temples on Tatooine, and Tatooine has kind of like a bit of a backstory. But regardless, it's been like a nexus or a crux throughout the storytelling and the Force in this saga, so totally on the same page, not only for that reason, but just everything else that's gone on there, like the visuals, everything, scum and villainy. You kind of said it all there. But other than that, I'm thinking one other planet, I guess. He's giving us 12 films now, too. Like, I'd like to find out a lot more about Act 2. I'm really, really, really interested in Act 2 being the first planet associated with the first Jedi Order. There's obviously something really special and important about this planet, so I'd hate to see it get destroyed.
That's a good point, because you would think if the First Order had Starkiller Base, if Starkiller Base hadn't been destroyed, and they found out that Luke was on Act 2, you'd think the first thing they would have done was just nuke that planet.
Oh yeah, that was definitely Plan A. It's like, get the plan, get the map, and we'll send our transmission over space, whatever it is, that blast that is able to travel a distance of the galaxy and destroy a whole system. We're not taking any chances.
I never considered that. I never really thought about that. But yeah, Act 2 is a good choice for immunity.
And I guess, I don't know, Forest Moon of Endor. Just because, you know.
Hey, it almost bit it too.
It was very close.
James, what do you got?
Tatooine's an easy choice. I probably could have and would have made it if Bradley hadn't already made such a strong case for it. But yeah, also, you know, big shout out to Tatooine. You can't lose that planet. But for future, you know, for movies coming up, do they need to save it? You know, is that the one I'm going to grant immunity to? I'm not sure that it needs to be saved. Same thing with Dagobah. Like, I would definitely save it, you know, if they were going back in time to blow stuff up. But I like Corey's answer of Act 2 for you know, movies we haven't seen yet, because it could be, you know, very, very important. it's tough to pick which movies they're going to go to or which planets they're going to go to that we haven't seen yet. That's hard to say too. But I'll save, and this maybe is sort of contrary to what I just said about importance in upcoming movies, but I'll save Coruscant. I'll save Coruscant just because I think if there's one movie that I could go visit as a young person, I think that would be a really cool one.
Even in a galactic importance, if you would figure that if Coruscant were to fall, like, it's kind of at the center of the galaxy in a sense, and like you would think that turmoil would ensue because they're the ones kind of keeping all the credit card statements and all that stuff.
I don't know. It's just like unlike anything we've sort of ever seen before in terms of. It looked like, what was that? Is it Dread that has the layered city like that? Like it looks so populated and yet organized at the same time. I don't know.
City planet.
It looks very important.
There's a theory going around that, well, it's not a new theory, but that originally Hosnian Prime was supposed to be Coruscant. So blowing it up would have been like a middle finger to the prequels. So people perceive two middle fingers towards the prequels. Lor San Tekka's opening line of this will begin to make things right, sort of a wink to the audience that, this is new Star Wars. Forget all that stuff you didn't like from the 90s to early 2000s. And Hosnian Prime was supposed to be Coruscant, but they steered away from that. I don't buy it personally, but there you go. There's a lot of tinfoil hat wearing people out there.
From a sheer beauty standpoint, let's just save Naboo just because of the vast amounts of wildlife, especially within the ocean, but the diversity on the planet and its sheer beauty. Let's preserve that little gem.
Yeah, that goes into the parks.
It goes legacy status. They actually have that in Catalyst. You find that there are planets that gain legacy status, that they're to be untouched, unaltered, and no way to be interfered with. But the Empire kind of just like, abolish that.
Don't care about that much.
Kyber, give me Kyber.
I'm on board with protecting a planet that sprang forth Natalie Portman and Keira Knightley. I'm okay with that.
And Jar Jar Binks. Let's do it.
Let's ease off Jar Jar, okay? He's had a tough 20 years.
He has, and trust me, I'm on board with the Jar Jar thing. It is what it is, and I see the way he makes my kid smile. Again, my kid hasn't seen the movie yet, but I've showed him so many YouTube clips, and he talks about him, man. And we've watched Clone Wars together as well, the animated, and he talks about him quite a bit. It's definitely something that stands out for kids.
Kids like him. Plain
yeah,
and
you guys are right. He is stupid.
I am saving Mustafar. We just got to know this place. We saw it was a scene of a great battle in Revenge of the Sith. But now that we've seen Vader's castle in Rogue One, that just opens the floodgates to what's actually going on there.
That's a good answer. That made my short list as well. It's a good one. There's a lot we want to know and explore there. There's lots of fodder to be had there, especially with the way they did the backstory on the temple that's built there, and so.
And let's face it. If I'm Imperial, and if I really seriously consider blowing up Mustafar, my job security is probably tenuous at best.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, there you go, Bradley. I hope that answers your question. Thank you, sir, for the great question again this week. Remember, if you want to see Bradley's artwork...
Let me take the next question so I can prove I can read, because it's so much shorter.
Go for it.
It says, from Dan Solo. Hello, chaps at the Tumbling Saber. Dan Solo at Star Wars Sucker. My question is, although it may seem a bit early to ask, we are now less than 3 months away from Force Friday. Do you have any plans for it? And if so, what will you be looking to pick up? I'll be hoping to join in a Toys R Us queue as early as possible, with my primary aim being to grab a Last Jedi Luke Skywalker. I usually also pick up at least one Lego set and whatever is hot on the night. I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Hope you have a great show. If the last 6 months are anything to go by, it will be another stormer. Well, thank you. Cheers, Dan Solo.
Did
See, I can
James?
read.
Nicely done, James.
Yeah. When I say scroll, I got to scroll side to side on my phone. It's not the up and down that's the problem.
Oh,
You understand what I'm saying?
yes. That would be a problem.
At any rate.
Well, Dan, thank you for chiming in. Our question is going to, our answers are probably going to be very anticlimactic, but we'll try and spice it up. But essentially, September 1st, 2017, that is going to be our Force Friday. Unfortunately, Quebec's labor laws forbid retailers from opening at midnight. So, all that fun that everybody else around the planet will be having, standing in lines and interacting with fellow fans when you should probably be in bed, well, we're actually going to be in bed. Because we can't go anywhere. Well, I guess we can go somewhere, but we can't go to Toys R Us or Walmart or any place that might open for Midnight Madness, because it ain't happening here.
No, it's not. And I want to take this opportunity to point out that since he said he'd be standing in a queue, Dan Solo is also one of the exceptions to that bitter joke I made earlier about needing an extra day to process the movie before we get it. It was just sour grapes, guys. Just sour grapes.
So, Corey, I don't know if you had any plans. I'm sure you're aware that Quebec's labor laws forbid any type of midnight fun. So,
Well, yeah, okay. I'm just gonna start with saying that honey hole that I found recently that that's liquidating all kinds of Star Wars stuff. I have a feeling that they're gonna be receiving some stock. So I go there quite regularly, and I'm gonna be keeping my eye on things. I definitely want a lot of stuff. Force Friday. I don't think it's as simple as what Kyle just said. Yes, my first note on the page here is Quebec labor laws absolutely suck. And we don't get to experience that whole midnight thing, but that doesn't stop us from doing something else now. Listening to this question, you're right. It's time to start planning. It's time to start thinking about it. It's time to start preparing. Our parents live not too far from here. It's about a 30-minute ride for me, maybe about an hour for Kyle, 45 minutes. And they're in another province, though, so the labor laws are different. So I'm thinking maybe of making some phone calls and finding out if it's actually going on in Cornwall, which is not too far from us. So if that's the case and they are doing something at Toys R Us and or Walmart, then I would definitely be interested in going. Because even if I wait till the next morning out here and do it on the Friday morning and go check it out, it's probably going to be pretty pitiful. Like,
I can tell you it was. I mean, my experience for Force Friday specifically, I can't remember if it was for The Force Awakens. I think it was. I went to my local Walmart on first thing on Friday morning, and I storm into the store. I'm looking for these figures. There's nobody in the store. It's dead. I'm expecting at least a little bit of atmosphere. Nothing. Nobody in the store. I get to the toy section, and I look where the Star Wars toys are. Pegs, empty. Every single one bone dry. Well, have they already sold out? Oh wait, what's this big pallet in the middle of the floor? They hadn't even unboxed them yet.
Yeah, that's when you're just like, can I help you with that? Can I just rummage through these?
So I technically could have my pick of everything that was in their inventory, but it's still all wrapped up and it's shrink wrapped. Oh, come on, you guys are useless. So that my Force Friday for Force Awakens was just terrible. But yeah, Corey, if you want to make that phone call to where our parents live and find out if their Walmart's doing some Force Friday action, I'm sure we can make something happen.
Yeah, I think we can too. At least
That is Labor Day weekend for us, so
that is
we'll have
reasonable
the extra
too.
long weekend.
It's a reasonable distance. I was thinking, like Ottawa, whatever, but Ottawa from us, it's probably about an hour and a half, 2-hour drive each way. So don't think it's possibly, I don't think it's worth it. And it's the same way to go into the United States. We're about the same equal distance into the States to get to a good shopping location. So I don't think I'll venture that far into it, but I'll definitely have my ear to the ground. And I definitely want some serious characters. I'm definitely on the same page as you in the sense that I want that Force Awakens Luke. Gorgeous. Totally want it. 40th anniversary stuff. Want it. Badly. Really badly. Hera. I've been eyeing this thing forever. Lando. Eyeing it for a long time. Qui-Gon.
Is that all coming on Force Friday?
I'm not 100% sure. Like,
Or are you just like reading us your entire wish list of toys?
No. Like, this is the next wave. They're slowly starting to appear in stores throughout. I've been listening to the Nerd Room, and from what they're saying, it is part of this Force Friday wave, I believe. But they're slowly starting to hit the stores now. Like certain stores are starting to receive shipments. Like, Bradley actually just posted a picture on Twitter the other day of him holding a Tusken Raider. So that's the second wave of the 40th. That's slowly starting to poke its head out.
Yeah, but that's not Force Friday stuff. I mean, Force Friday stuff is all gonna be The Last Jedi.
You think?
Mostly, yeah.
I'm thinking Black Series because he was saying the Luke is gonna be the Force Awakens Luke. No.
Well, it's also the same stuff he's wearing at the beginning of The Last Jedi.
I guess, yeah. Starts right away, but definitely that's high on my list. But I thought the Hera Lando and Imperial Guard as well. That's just cool. Have you seen that one, Kyle? When you lift the robes behind the Imperial Guard, how cool is that? I know that kind of sounds a bit weird there, but have you seen that? Have you guys seen that? It's so cool, I guess, and that would be canon now because we've never really seen it on film. And in this toy, like when you lift the robe a bit, because they're, they look totally samurai. Like, it's really cool.
That was awesome. That's for the greatest hits
perfect.
reel.
Well said.
Did I rename the show?
No, I don't think so.
No, that was a good one. I like the Triple Edge.
Good try though.
Yeah.
Try harder. That is a classic Corey though. Peeking under the robe, lifting the robe. Good job.
No, but honestly though, did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I'd never seen what their armor or battle gear looks like, and it's badass.
Does it look
Shadows of the Empire gave us a peek, but of course that's not really canon anymore.
Very samurai-ish.
Yes, like I said, if you want to make a couple calls and find out if there is any Force Friday to attend within an hour's drive, I don't mind taking the Friday off and staying up a bit late to do something.
Yeah, I'm down, man. I am down. I would hope so.
we these things tend to blow up in our faces though, because the vibe just isn't there.
We're gonna call our boy Steven Stanton. He's gonna hook us up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll see.
Hey, Steve, I need you to spice things up in Cornwall, Ontario, Canada for us.
It'll happen.
All right. Yeah, I'm hoping to get my hands on some new Luke stuff. I hope that Snoke is part of the first wave. I'd like to get a peek at him for sure. DJ, I would like to get some DJ stuff. I always wanted my own Benicio del Toro figure. And Kylo's ship. If there's any vehicle that I want Kylo's ship. And well, you know what? I guess if there's any Leia figures to be had in the first wave, those are going to fly off the shelves.
Ooh,
so I think that's
too, eh?
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be something that fans grab en masse. Just grab any Leia. This might be the last Leia figure, right? Get your hands on it.
Yeah. You're gonna, by the end of it all, I'm gonna have, that's what I love about my collecting, what I'm doing right now with the collecting, in the sense that it's all going in a box and stuff and whatever, but I'm just going subconsciously with my eclectic tastes. So by the end of it all, when we unbox it, I'm going to have like a Leia collection with like, 5, 6, 10, 20 different things. Ahsoka, like all these different characters with, like it's not like I'm a completionist. So I just go with what my heart's telling me, kind of.
Cue the Celine Dion music.
You sap.
You guys suck.
Okay. Anybody else? James, what are you doing for Force Friday?
Not much. I don't really collect. No,
We're gonna bring you
that's
with
not
us.
true. I don't collect at all. But I would drive to wherever, Cornwall at midnight, just to hang out. That'd be something to do.
Yeah,
My kids are asleep.
let's do it. I'll find out. I'm definitely gonna be making a call this week. You say, okay,
It's only half an hour for me.
you don't have an answer for me? Let me speak to your manager.
I put money on the fact that they don't know what they're doing yet.
Well, I'm
I put
definitely.
big money down on that.
I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna make a stink about it. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna give you my name. I'm gonna give you my phone number. Expect a call. I am Chop Rules with a Z. Goddammit. I want answers.
Corey, if you really want to effectively go about this, write an email to corporate specifically about the store you want to go to. That will be much more effective than calling the store itself.
Well, I'm
I
gonna do
promise.
both. I'm gonna say in my email, not only have I called the store and left messages, I have not received a call back, and I'm very disappointed. I am Chop Rules
I like
with
how
a Z.
you've already
Goddammit.
assumed that you're not going to get a call back.
Yeah. Oh, either way, I'm on it. It would be fun. It would be cool. I've never done anything like that, so.
Yeah, no, the closest thing to a successful Force Friday thing for me was when actually occurred in May, when the Phantom Menace toys came out. Was it in May or maybe in April? And I remember hitting the store and it was just overload of
Phantom Menace
Star
or
Wars
Rogue
stuff.
One?
Phantom Menace. That was the best one for me.
Oh, I remember back in the day.
Whew, that was something else. And of course, by the end, they couldn't get rid of they couldn't give away the Phantom Menace stuff by the end. Just stuff just rotting on the shelves. But man, that first week, that first summer where you'd walk into the store and there's all this fresh new Star Wars stuff. I remember just stopping every week on my way home from work at Pizza Huts or what was the other chains involved? It was Pizza Hut, Taco Bell.
Pepsi.
No, like restaurant chains. I can't remember, but it was those little stupid
Probably
little
Burger
toys. No, it wasn't Burger King. Damn it, I'm not. Maybe it
Subway?
was. No, not Subway. Anyway. It doesn't really matter. But they were selling those dumb little Phantom Menace toys. They were really awful, but it was so fun to collect those. Yeah, I think Kentucky Fried was the other.
That makes sense.
I think they're all owned by the same parent company. So, yeah, every week they would have a
Disney?
different toy for sale, and we would just ran all over the place. I would drive a good hour in any direction to try and get my hand on that week's available toy, and they were the worst toys, but I had so much fun. It was the thrill of the chase. That to me was the peak of Star Wars collecting.
That's always the best part, to be honest, is it's always the thrill of the hunt. Like, when you're looking out there and you're like, oh, like, and you see something, you basically think it's impossible, and for the most part, it's always going to be on the last peg. It's like, you're almost about to give up, and you're just like, you're stretching, you're reaching, you're moving all these toys, and it's the last one, and you're just like, it's all worth it, man. That one initial rush, it's all worth it.
Yep, and you know the thrill, the chase right now that I'm not having so much fun with because I've been unsuccessful is finding an Admiral Raddus. I cannot find him.
No, he's not around. Trust me, I've been hunting too, man, and he's just nulle part in Quebec. Like, I don't even think they shipped him here, to be honest, because...
No, I had one once, and I
What?
didn't buy him.
Are you kidding me?
At the time, it was like, oh, okay, I'll get him later.
Nah, that was a foolish move. I have not
in
seen
retrospect, of course, but at the time it was like, okay,
one.
I had no idea.
I had a feeling, man, because yeah, I've never seen him not once anywhere. And again, I don't know if just touching back quickly on the question is, I don't think I'm gonna go into any Lego sets right away. But I do have to say is that I was definitely not a Lego kid, but I'm getting to be a Lego adult with my son because I'm kind of.
I would have thought you were a Duplo adult.
Oh no, Mega Blocks. I'm out. No, but Robert Phillips, the work he does is just phenomenal, and I've had so much fun. I've about built some pretty cool Star Wars stuff recently, man. I've got probably about like, I don't know, 6-7 sets of Star Wars things now. They're all my son's stuff, but we build them together, and that's half the fun because I never really did it as a kid, and you know, doing it with him, there's something almost like serene about it.
Yeah, it requires your attention and focus.
Yeah, it's like a puzzle.
In a manner of speaking, sure. All right, Dan Solo, thank you, sir. At Star Wars Sucker, give him a follow. Do come back. Love answering your questions.
Yep, that was a good one.
And lastly, our good friend Carlos Candido is here with a question. Actually, it's a multi-pronged question here, so here we go. Happy recording day, Tumbling Saber writes. I have questions for you this week. I should remind you that I'm taking score, and you will be judged harshly throughout history on the validity of your answers. So answer carefully. That's my oh shit moment, because I've had a lot of heat stroke today, so I was really hoping nobody would judge me today, but Carlos clearly got his ledger out here. So question number 1. Assuming Rey isn't a Skywalker, Luke's daughter to be precise, is Rey the daughter of a rebel/resistance fighter, or worse, a First Order officer or Dark Force user? James, where you lean on this one?
She is Kylo's sister. I don't know how it's going to work out yet, but they're brother and sister. I lean there. Is she the son, or is she the daughter of a Dark Force user? That's a great question. I feel like if she's not a Skywalker, then she's a Kenobi. But we did talk about her being maybe a clone of Anakin or a re-embodiment. Who knows? Carlos, I have no idea. But I'll say I don't think she's just some officer's kid. I think she's someone really important's offspring. And I don't think it's a Dark Force user.
Corey, what do you think?
First of all, I want to say, like, I don't know why fandom doesn't get a little more crazy over this. Like, kind of been hijacked a bit in the sense that your Snoke theory sucks, but my God, does your Rey theory suck too, man? Like, when I put the two in comparison, Snoke versus Rey, I get more, like, the Rey theory and her lineage drives me more crazy than what Snoke is. Like, I'm just so confused. Like, again, her ancestry is, I think it's going to be familiar to us. Why is Lucasfilm keeping it such a closely guarded secret? They even said that, it's a secret, like, shh. So, if it is such a secret, like, it's got to have some kind of relevance and meaning to the greater story. So, first question, I'm going to definitely say this. She's not a dark side user, like, offspring, or just some regular trooper's offspring. It's definitely going to have some relevance to the story that's a bit deeper than that.
I'm saying she's not Luke's daughter. She's not the daughter of rebel or resistance fighters. And I'll say she's not First Order or Dark Force user either. But I will say it's more, in my mind, it's more likely that she's the daughter or resulting offspring of Dark Force users than light side users. That would be my guess.
Yeah, like a manipulation of the Force, kind of as we're led to believe what happened with Anakin almost.
Yeah. If you want to go back down that road, sure. Question 2. Did Luke kill Rey's father?
That's super interesting. Like, I never really, honestly, ever even thought about that. But who knows if she even has a father? But again, I like that a lot. I think it could be a really interesting dynamic in the film. It could present something that's really like, oh wow, almost kind of like the "I am your father" moment, and it could put Rey down a completely different path. But
So what is your answer?
I don't think it's the case. I don't think it's the case.
James, did Luke kill Rey's father?
No.
No, I'm a no
Nope.
on that too.
I agree.
Quick sidebar, Kyle and Corey. If we're entertaining the idea that she could be a clone, if Kylo Ren was say like a clone, like a failed dark experiment, do you think like Leia and family would be a good hiding place for him? Like, or is that too obvious a place to hide him? So what I'm saying is, if they're both clones, if maybe Kylo and Rey are both clones, do you think like the good guys got a hold of the project and tried to take care of it themselves, or is that just too crazy a theory? They'd have to hide him more like that they hid Rey, like in a better hiding spot.
I don't know that why would you give the kid to like the top dog in the Resistance? Here, Leia, I know you're super busy running this military, or actually at that point she would have been running the Republic. But take this kid.
Yeah, you're right. and Han, well, maybe they picked her because Han's such a great father. Yeah, you're right. That doesn't make any sense.
But also, I mean, I know it's hypothetical, but we do see, like, we read about her pregnancy in Bloodline. Sorry.
Oh yeah, that's
in
true.
Aftermath.
I knew that, but I'd forgotten.
But yeah, it's a good
that's
hypothetical. Bonus question. Have you ever sat on a lightsaber and thought, oof, I'm glad that's not real? Just me? Okay, then. So, Carlos, as he's got 3 young boys. I'm sure he has sat on more than just a lightsaber. I'm sure he stepped on Lego, stepped on action figures, slipped on a puzzle and ruined it and got yelled at for it. But as far as lightsabers, I've got 3 or 4 of them kicking around my house. I've certainly sat on them before. And yeah, I am relieved that at no point were they a threat to sear my innards shut. So, Carlos, I'm right there with you, man.
1 in a million, Doc.
Fusilli Jerry.
Yeah. I just sent you guys a message as well on Facebook. Check that one out. I love that. Not necessarily, like, I know I have not sat on a lightsaber, and yes, I do have a few lying around. Some of the cheaper ones, the throw out ones. But A New Hope. You kind of just see Luke, like, my God. Like, it's like, it's comparable to a gun, right? The first thing you learn about using a gun is kind of like, do not put the gun toward your face. And
Come on, even your dad teaches you that lesson about a garden hose.
yeah, anything. And Luke's just like, let me see what's down the barrel of this here lightsaber.
And what does this button do? Oops.
Yeah, exactly. Whoops.
All right. James, no lightsabers in your house? But lots of
lightsabers in my house yet. Nope.
There's lots of things to step on and sit on, though.
Well, no toy lightsabers, Kyle.
Kyle just hasn't found his kyber crystal yet. You shouldn't make fun of him for that, James.
I thought we agreed we weren't going to talk about that on the show.
Sorry, man.
All right, guys, that's it for episode 79 of the Tumbling Saber podcast. Thank you to everybody for listening. Hope you enjoyed the last 2 hours and change. Thank you, ads, as usual. Great stuff. Matt, Dan, and Carlos, thank you guys so much for coming through for us this week and helping to build out this show. Hope everybody enjoyed it. So
Yeah, and Bradley, your question wasn't too long. It's just my screen is too small. Please keep them coming.
Yeah, please do keep your questions coming. No jokes. Questions from our friends is my by far favorite part of the show, for sure.
Yep, definitely.
Okay, StarWarsCommonwealth.com, everybody. You guys all know who is who at that network and doing great work. So check it out and thank us later if you haven't. Social media, Corey, where can they find you?
Come on, man. Y'all can find me at Chop Rules with a Z.
And James?
Still at Tommy Bombadil 1.
Perfect. And I'm still at Tumbling Saber on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Come check us out. If you got 2 minutes, we'd love to get an iTunes review. It's been a while since we've gotten an iTunes review, so we'd like to replenish that bank a little bit. And also, if there's looking for another way to help the show, you can tell a friend. Just tell one of your Star Wars loving friends about this show, and get them on board. Love to help grow this community at both Tumbling Saber and the Commonwealth. And before we say goodbye, we'll just remind you that Sith Disturbers is back this week. Me, Corey, and James will be back talking about whatever the hell is on our minds. And if you want to get in a Would You Rather to us, or dictate to us what we should talk about, now's the time to do it. So put your thinking cap on and send us your topics of silly random stuff. It doesn't even have to be Star Wars related. Anything you want. We'll discuss it and butcher it. And that's it. So until Sith Disturbers, you guys, have yourselves a good week, and we'll talk later.
Self-redeeming qualities, have they hindered me? Hindering, was I blind to see that you needed me? All of me, well, you were there for me. I will be there too, watching, listening, every moment, wanting all of you. And I believe I can save you, just don't let me go. And I can see I'll be waiting, always waiting, just don't let me go. Just don't let me go. Time goes on and I'm questioning all the things I've seen, crazy things I've seen as I'm watching you. I'm watching you walking away from me. Were you watching me